Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about arguments and how we can efficiently use them in UiPath Studio. This is going to be a basic video about arguments. I'll be giving in-depth knowledge of arguments, guys. Even I'll be showing you guys a practical scenario how we can use arguments to pass the data between workflows. As you can know, variables are used to store the data inside a normal sequence, in a sequence, and arguments is nothing but by using the arguments you can pass the data between workflows. Arguments are of three types: in direction, out direction, and in out direction. Let's get back to the UI studio to make a practical approach. Okay, so we have our studio over here, and let's rename this arguments demo. Okay, I'll be showing you guys that how we can import our arguments, because see, this will be very important in the RE framework. That's why I'm bringing this video before RE framework basics, so that you guys can have a good understanding on how to use the arguments in UiPath Studio. Okay, so to showcase the arguments demo, I have devised a small workflow in front of you guys. I'll be devising a small workflow in front of you guys so that you guys can understand from the scratch. Okay, so now we'll be making a small calculator, right? First we'll be giving them a static value, and after that we'll be giving them a dynamic value. Static means I'll be hard coding the value over here, and dynamic means it will be asking me in the runtime that what value I have to give inside the calculator. Okay, so this is the sequence. Let's start building our workflow. So to give the to give the static values, what we can do, we can initialize two variables over here. Variables, this is variable, this is not argument. I'm not using any argument here now. Okay, using variable. So variable will be, the good practice is to start with the data type that the variable is. This variable is integer type, so we'll go with int. We can go with num1, and quickly let's change the variable type to integer 32, because this is a number. Let's go with int, okay, let's go with int num2. So this is number 2, and we will be going here integer 32. So these are the two variables that will be containing the static data that I'll be providing here. Okay, let's give an assign activity. You can use multiple assign as well if you wish, no worries. I'll give my number will be, for example, let's take 16, and in assign another assign we can go here and go with num2 will be 10, right? So there are two numbers, both of them are of integer type, and both are variables, they are not arguments. Okay, so now our two variables have been given the data 16 and 10 stored in num1 and num2 respectively. Okay, so now I have to use the arguments to make this calculator. I can make like this also. This will be not using the arguments. If I'll be doing this in num1 plus int num2, and I'll create a variable called result we can create, right? So this is not using any arguments. This is just using a normal assign activity. So this is not an advanced workflow. This whole workflow is not advanced. I'm just trying to let you guys know what are arguments from the very scratch. Okay, so we'll delete this, and what we'll do, we'll be creating another workflow just to showcase then you guys that how arguments pass the data between workflows. Okay, let's go here and let's create another workflow type of sequence. Let's give it the name calculator. Okay, let's create it. This is a calculator, so all the calculation will be done in this workflow. This will be just for initializing both this variables, right? Okay, or what we can do, we can initialize this variable in the calculator also. It's your wish. For now we are keeping it like as it is. Okay, and what we can do, we can now come to the argument tab inside calculator workflow. This is another workflow called calculator that I just created. Now I'll click over here. Now guys, if you'll see, arguments are of 4 types: in, out, and property. Currently UiPath is not using the property. Okay, so I'll be telling you in, out, and in out only. Okay, so the best practice that whatever the argument name is, just argument type is, sorry, whatever the argument direction is, you start the argument name with that only. For example, it's an in direction, so we'll go with in num1. I'll let you know why I kept in, out, whatever it is, I'll let you know. Okay, and this is in. Actually, we need only 2 arguments here, num2. Okay, this is our 2 numbers in direction. Let's keep them as integer, because static variable we have integer type only, and it's a calculator, so we can expect integer number or double numbers as well, but we are keeping now, just for now, as a integer only, right? Okay, so guys, there are 3 types of argument: in, out, and in out. So what this in argument is doing, this is taking the data from here. I'll let you know how I can import the arguments as well, just in a moment. This is taking the data from these 2 variables called int num and num2. Okay, that is 16 and 10, and it's passing or throwing the data inside the calculator. So this calculator is accepting some data, right? It's accepting. So you guys can remember it like this: when it is accepting some data, it's always be in. When it's throwing some data outside, for example, the result of this calculator will be out, because we need to throw the data outside, right? We need to pass, or you can say pass the data outside from this workflow, from this calculator workflow. Okay, I hope this part is clear. For now, I'll show you with an example, don't worry. So we have 2 arguments over here. Let's do an assign activity. Okay, and let's go with another argument. It's called out. We can go with result, or we can say as sum. Okay, and here it is. Let's go with integer. Okay, here it is out, sum. And how we can sum these numbers? Simple, by summing them. Okay, so this is it. Error has been diminished. So what it's doing, carefully now, again I'm trying to understand you guys, this is taking both the data out of these 2 variables, int num1 and num2. It has not yet taken the data. I'll let you know when I'll import the this workflow into main workflow. I'll be importing the calculator workflow into my main workflow. Then only we can have the option of import arguments, right? What it's trying to do, it is taking this 16 and 10 number and passing them here. So this is nothing but 16 plus 10, right? 26 will be the sum, and this sum is what, of type out. And let's change the direction also here, guys. This is very important. Like, this will be throwing the data outside of this workflow called calculator, and it will be throwing outside to the main workflow, right? Or wherever this calculator has been invoked. Invoke mean wherever this calculator has been, this whole workflow has been passed on. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's go here to see. To invoke, you can either use like this. The best way to do is drag this calculator over here like this. So what happened? Now automatically this invoke workflow file came. Or you guys can do like this as well. You can use the invoke workflow file. Okay, and then you have to select the path, give the calculator over here. That is also fine, but we like this method, so I will do this again. Okay, so this is our, now see, initializing was done in the main workflow. You can do it inside this as well. Okay, and now this workflow is having the calculation, that is this. Very simple, very basic, guys. I'm just touching the basics so that you guys have a crystal clear understanding of what are arguments. Okay, and now see, one very important thing, guys. Whenever you are expecting expecting that the argument should be appear in your import arguments. See, right now this is nothing, there is nothing, right? You are expecting that, you will think that I'll create an argument here, and and then again I'll do it. No, this is wrong. You don't have to do this. Just see this is a star, that means it hasn't been saved. Okay, and whenever you will be saving it, the star will be diminished, and in main also we have a star. Let's save this as well. Okay, so both workflow are saved. Now you saw that import argument has a little orangish button on the right hand side of it, and it's saying 0. Why it's saying 0? Because we haven't imported any arguments till now. As I click on the import argument section, all these 3 arguments which were in the calculator workflow are here now. You can see all these 3. Okay, in and out, everything will be same copied as here, right, in the calculator. So what I need to do, I need to pass the values now. Please we focus, guys. Excuse me. I need to pass the value now. So what is the value of num1 here? The value of num1 is, I don't need to create another value because I have already created a variable over here, right? This is int number. Okay, this is throwing the value inside of this, because see, this is in direction, so this is accepting the value. This is, this is throwing. Whenever there is an in, just consider this thing is going inside of it. That's it. Very simple funda. You won't get confused ever. This worked for me, and I hope it will work for you as well. Okay, and for the integer number 2, we can give num2 as well over here. For outsum, we already created a variable called result, but this is a string variable, so we need to convert into int32. And now what this out is doing, guys, this is throwing. Whenever you see an out direction over here, just consider this is throwing this is saving the value into this thing. This is throwing the value outside of the workflow. Simple. In is what throwing the value, in is what catching the value inside of the workflow, out is what throwing the value outside of that specific workflow. Okay, and let's change the data type to integer. Okay, the error got diminished. Okay, so now let's use some log message activities as well. Sorry, use SAP. Okay, so now I am initializing the numbers over here. Okay, and now I can use a log message over here. Now I have to do what? I will be we can say that moving to the calculator workflow now. Okay, so now moving to the calculator workflow. Let's open this. Let's minimize this. Just to get a very clear picture out of arguments, I'm using these log message activities, right? And it's a good practice whenever you are developing any workflow or any project to use as much as log message activities, so that you get a clear picture what is happening in the output section. Okay, and it helps in rectifying or mitigating the scenario as well if you get any errors, right? In the calculator workflow, now what we can do, we can just use this, exiting the exiting the calculator workflow. I'm not using any label because it's all, if you leave it blank, it's already using an info log label, right? Save it. Always save your this workflow which includes the arguments, only then they will be showing in the invoke workflow file, right? And now inside of this, let's copy this, move beneath this, and now in the main section. Okay, we are in the main section now, and we can do a right line activity to just print the results over here as well. We can print the result anywhere. We can print the result in calculator also. We can initialize the result in calculator as well. It's just a process that I'm showing you guys. I hope you are getting it right. It's very simple. And just write result dot to string, because we are converting this as a string. Okay, so let's try to debug it, and running a very slow. Let's do a breakpoint over here, right? Breakpoints are nothing but they are used to halt or break the execution, so that you can use step into, step over, step out activities, and step by step you can see that what is happening in your debugging section, the local section. You can see all the variables, arguments, everything, right? Okay, let's try to debug the file. You guys just will be using this output section as a threshold, right? Okay, so we have stopped at this because we have used the breaking point. Now let's press step into. It will be stepping one by one inside this activities and showing the output over here, right? So you can see that we are in the assign activity right now, and it's showing 16. Now here we don't have any value. As I'll be exiting this activity, there will be value 16 over here. See, 16 values there, and then again 10 is here, right? Now moving to the calculator workflow now. Okay, you can see the output also, guys. The log messages are working correctly. Okay, this calculator is closed. Let's keep it closed, and it will automatically open it. Let's go here, automatically opened calculator. So the control has moved from here to here, and here it is what inside of calculator. It's very simple. Okay, let's press step into again. So it's showing that it will be going inside. So it's in the calculator workflow now. It is in the assign activity, and here these things are done. Both the value has been initialized through the arguments, because we have passed the arguments in the main workflow, right? Out sum is 0. As I'll press this, it will be 26, because 16 plus 10 is 26. Okay, so 26 is there. Log message now, again, just for the clearer understanding, exit. Now it is exiting the calculator workflow. Okay, step into again. Okay, and now it is in the main section, and the result will be printed now, that is 26. And if I'll press again, the workflow will stop. Okay, so guys, once again I'm gonna repeat this. Arguments help us to process the data between workflow. Variables help us to store the data, or variables also help us to pass the data, but in a single workflow, not in multiple workflows. Remember this, guys. Arguments we use when we have to extract the data, pass the data out of this workflow, or accept the data using an in argument inside this workflow. And there is another argument called in out. Whenever you feel that this argument can work as an in out, so you can use an in out argument as well. This is a combination of in and out argument. Property we are not using right now, because UiPath doesn't recommend using property, so we will be not covering this property. Okay, it's not been it will be not used. Okay, so this was it regarding the argument. It was a short video, but I think the concept is clear now, guys. 3 type of arguments: in, out, and in out. In will be accepting any data inside of that workflow. Out will be sending any data outside of that workflow. In out can be used in both the scenarios, in and out scenarios. Okay, so I think, guys, this is clear. And if you like the videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the videos, guys, the channel as well. And till then, keep learning.